How's everybody doing? It's Lethal Loogie here, better known as Luca. I'm here to review a video. I had a buddy of mine actually review this video. I'll leave it in the description to his YouTube video. But he doesn't like the aspect of the PlayStation 5 Pro. He thinks it's kind of taking over PC or is trying to compare to PC, which there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. That's actually a good thing. Consoles finally catching up to PCs. And everybody knows PlayStation 5 Pro is, I think, $700 around there, something like that. It's a little pricey, but it kind of comes with, a lot of good things. So let's just hop into the video and, I'll kind of pause within different sections of the video, trying to kind of give you my opinion. But let's get into it. Okay, so this is the part where people are kind of talking about, oh, it's trying to kind of get into like PC territory, and why people are saying like, oh, it's trying to compare to a PC. Guys, there's nothing wrong with that. This is a good thing for consoles to finally be able to reach this point is a good thing. Reaching 120 FPS is good. Another thing is, I mean, it doesn't mean it's gonna constant be 120 FPS. Let's face it, you're not gonna be a constant 120. Not even PCs are constant 120. Not everybody. For $700, that's not bad. You know, yeah, might as well, like, if you're gonna spend $700, you can probably go on PC Part Picker and build a PC for $700 and probably maybe get something a little bit better, you know. But not everybody has time to, put a PC together. So people just want to, okay, spend on $700 and plug and play. Most people want that, and there's nothing wrong with that. So to finally be able to get to 120 FPS, it's really good when it comes to consoles. Now when you play a game like Call of Duty or any other game that has you need that advantage, now people can't complain that, oh man, you guys got more FPS than us. You guys, your screen refreshes faster, which that still won't change. I mean, obviously, at the end of the day, PC is still going to be superior when it comes to consoles. There's a lot of factors to that. But to finally be able to hit this point of view, that's good. But, I mean, obviously, it also has to do with your monitor, which at the same time, that's no different. Because you can plug in like your PlayStation and plug it into an actual monitor that refreshes 1 second refresh rate, you know. So there's not much of a difference now. So that's pretty good. Advanced race tracing. That is really good. Usually when it comes to ray tracing, you see it more in NVIDIA graphics card, and that's good. That means now games are gonna look so much better on PlayStation or even just in console, because we don't know if Xbox is gonna be in that and try to do the same thing. Everybody knows console And like PlayStation and Xbox, they always try to compete with each other. That's never gonna change, you know. So advanced ray tracing is really good. Now games are gonna look beautiful on those consoles. Oh, let me actually say one more thing. There's another trailer that, not trailer, but kind of a talk with, I think its name is Mark. He's kind of also, it's going to be similar to this video as well. Obviously, it's not going to be much of a difference from the other PlayStation 5s. They really don't change how it looks into like PlayStation 6 or every other different console. You know, it's always going to be the same into the next generation. PlayStation. So, I'm going to play the next video. There's another video here that I do want to play. I was kind of watching it a little bit before I did start streaming, then I realized when I started playing it, I'm like, okay.
iPhone 16 Pro with Apple Intelligence.
My bad. I started watching a little bit. Let's get into it though as well. I'll give my opinions with it.
I'm Mark Cerny. I'm excited to be here to talk about the newest addition to our console lineup, PlayStation 5 Pro, and how it advances gaming technology. But first, I want to take just a minute to look at what we put in the original PlayStation 5 and how it delivers an exceptional gaming experience. When PS5 debuted in 2020, it brought a lot to the table. 8 Zen 2 CPU cores form the brains of PlayStation 5 and enable high-speed complex gameplay, with character counts reaching into the hundreds and frame rates that can be as high as 120 frames a second. PS5 has a powerful RDNA 2 GPU, which can render anything from intricate details to fantastic worlds with vast panoramas to explore. Ray tracing allows for dramatic visual improvements, including reflections off of water or glass, and the realism that comes from real-time global illumination. A custom SSD can load data at breathtaking speed, resulting in ultra-fast transitions between game worlds.
And that's the best thing about it. You know, those SSDs are game changers, you know? And if you guys even, this not just, you know, consoles and PCs. PC, if you have a SSD, NVMe SSD, and if you guys can spend the money on that, do it. That changes everything. When it comes to downloading games, it's a lot faster. Running games, a lot better. You know, that changes a lot of things, you know. So, consoles having that is a big change, big difference, you know.
And data streaming rates so high that traversal speeds are essentially unlimited.
You okay? I'm working on it!
Tempest 3D audio tech brings an unparalleled sense of immersion to the sound of the games. With audio so real, you may not even need to see the enemies to know exactly where they are. Finally, the DualSense controller has haptics that let you feel through your hands what your character is experiencing inside of the game. It's wonderful to see such...
I won't lie, you guys. I like PlayStation controllers way better than Xbox, you know. Everything is so much closer to each other than, you know, Xbox, whereas, you know, one is up here, one is down here. Yeah, it kind of does have a different feel to it, so everybody's kind of different. But I'd rather have minimum movement, you know, having to be up here instead of here. Plus, their controllers are a lot smaller, you know. I like PlayStation controllers a lot better.
Variety and richness of game experiences. Creators have made amazing use of the hardware capabilities, but when I talk to them, I do hear about their desire for more graphics performance. The dreams of the developers are bigger than can be supported at 60 frames per second, and that leads to an aspect of modern gaming that we're all familiar with: graphics modes. It can be a difficult choice for players. Fidelity modes emphasize the visuals, typically through higher resolution rendering. These modes might also have enhanced detail or use more ray tracing. But the games only run at 30 frames per second.
Which, I won't lie, a good game that actually gets a good view of what is capable for consoles is the Spider-Man games. Everybody has seen the games. Most people probably played it. Everybody knows how beautiful the Spider-Man games are on PlayStation. Everybody knows how beautiful those games are. Obviously, you're losing some aspects for getting the better graphics. You know, you're losing some performance, but you don't feel a difference as much. Like when it comes to PCs, it's the same thing. You know, you're losing for better graphics, you're losing performance, and you know, performance, you're losing graphics. So it's never going to be a win-win. So PlayStation is trying to balance that, which is good. Well, didn't even realize I'm muted.
Emphasize frame rate and interactivity, typically choosing to run 60 frames per second. Mainly by reducing the graphical detail until those frame rates can be achieved.
Point A right there.
When asked to decide on a mode, players are choosing performance about 3/4 of the time. Removing that decision, or at least narrowing that divide, is one of the key targets for PlayStation 5 Pro. We want to give players the graphics that the game creators aspire to, at the high frame rates that players typically prefer. To do that, PS5 Pro substantially improves over PlayStation 5 in 3 ways. Here's what we call the Big 3. First, we made the GPU much larger and increased the speed of the memory it uses. The result is rendering that's up to 45% faster. Second, we made major upgrades to the ray tracing, taking a streamlined and accelerated approach that allows calculation of the rays at double or even triple the speeds of PlayStation 5. And finally, we added custom hardware for machine learning and an AI library called PlayStation Spectral Super Resolution, or PSSR for short. PSSR analyzes the game images pixel by pixel and can add an extraordinary amount of detail, which boosts the effective resolution of the games. Game creators are adding PS5 Pro support to new and existing titles, and with the Big 3 involved, the results can be pretty amazing, with graphics showing something like fidelity levels of detail, but at double the frame rate. Here's The Last of Us Part 2 running on PS5 Pro. It has huge amounts of detail and targets a super smooth 60 frames per second. Let's compare this to the Fidelity mode on PS5, which is only running at 30 frames per second and is therefore much choppier.
You can tell the difference.
This goal
right
of delivering almost Fidelity-like graphics at performance frame rates has been achieved for a broad set of titles, including Marvel's Spider-Man 2 and Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart. We can see that PS5 Pro is close to doubling the power of PlayStation 5. Another way to compare the two consoles is to look at PS5 Pro versus Performance mode on PS5, both of which target 60 frames per second. What we see here is a difference in detail. PS5 Pro is much sharper and crisper than PS5. For this, my favorite is the parade scene from Ratchet & Clank. Distant details are much clearer. And here we can see Marvel's Spider-Man 2 is noticeably higher resolution throughout the scene, including the trees and procedural cars. So overall, some remarkable improvement to the games. On PS5 Pro, we can see increased sharpness to the graphics or smoother and more responsive gameplay. This is the Big 3 showing their value. As you've been seeing, machine learning via the PSSR library is being used quite broadly to add pixel detail and boost frame rate. But there are as many approaches as there are game engines. The increase in raw GPU power is being especially effective for Horizon Forbidden West. Apart from the detail boost, that extra graphics power is allowing for improvements to lighting and visual effects, as well as to the hair and the skin in cinematics.
Open up, guys. Jorv's orders.
Good enough for me.
Ray tracing is finding broad usage as well, particularly when the games are focused on higher frame rates. The faster hardware in PS5 Pro can make a real difference, allowing Gran Turismo 7 to add ray-traced reflections between the cars in gameplay, while continuing to support their targeted 60 frames per second. That boost in ray tracing is also delivering big wins for Hogwarts Legacy, allowing not only for better reflections and a greater variety of reflective surfaces, but also for further realism in the casting of shadows. I hope you've enjoyed this run-through of the technology behind PlayStation 5 Pro. Simply put, it's the most powerful console we've ever built, and a worthy addition to the PS5 family. Let me wrap this up by giving you a quick look at a number of games running on the new console.
You'll never break a legend, 'cause they don't know we are legendary.
Just look at that, you guys. This game is such a beautiful game on PlayStation. Just look at this.
Close your eyes. It'll be worth it.
Okay.
Did I do it? Oh, what is this? What's with all the neon?
There's the classic.
PlayStation.
Now that was a good trailer. A lot of good things coming to consoles. And I feel that you guys, people who do play on consoles, you guys are coming up, man. Sooner or later, there's not gonna be a much difference. I mean, obviously, let's there's gonna be some changes when it comes to PCs. We're always gonna have a little bit of edge between those consoles. Because I have a 3050 in my computer. I have 32 gigabytes of RAM, radiator. Now this PC, I built this one myself. I built it, I think, a couple of years ago. When I did build it, it was 15 something, and I built another one that was around 16, and when I actually built my second one, I bought the 3050 for that second one, but then I took that 3050 and put it in actually my primary one, because I had built that one for streaming, but then I ended up, just putting that one to the side and just putting it on my main one, so I have, better graphics. But at the end of the day, I mean, we're always gonna have somewhat of a gap between consoles. There's always gonna be a gap. As much as PlayStation and Microsoft try to close in that gap, there's always going to be. You know, always going to, because you guys have to always wait for a new generation of consoles to come in. You know, for them to make a new generation console. For you guys get to the newer stuff. Whereas PC, we could just buy the parts and install it, and there we go. We don't have to wait. Obviously, we're gonna have to wait for them to make it and send it. You know, being able to buy them, we gotta wait for that part. But the minute it comes to market, we can just buy it and install it right then and there. We don't have to wait for a new console to come out. That's the biggest gap between consoles and PC. You know, and that's the issue. You know, you guys have to always wait a new year or however long for them to make a new console. But consoles have came a long way to what they are now to back then. You know, whereas PC, we kind of been always in the same spot. We always been superior. You know, and consoles do try to closing that gap within games. Like, for an example, aim assist. You know, you guys, they try to close in a gap between that. But at the end of the day, there's still going to be somewhat a gap. Whereas PlayStation 5 Pro can close in that gap a little bit more. And that's great. We all love to see that. So, if you guys like this video, please leave a like and subscribe and click that notification button. I try to post videos as much as I can if I have free time. Obviously, I know this video is not much informational. I'm still kind of getting into YouTube and all that. So if you guys did like the video, thank you, and I really appreciate it. I'll try to, be more informed to make better videos. See you guys next time.